the Ring Fanatics Podcast, episode number 12. I'm Nick, your host, and with me as always is my co-host Joel. Before I get into the episode, I just want to shout out real quick Derek Gamble, who came on last week to help us out with Survivor Series predictions. If you haven't seen the episode, go to our YouTube and Spotify pages. You can catch that episode and the rest of our episodes. Go ahead, subscribe, follow all of our socials, including Spotify. Continue to support us. We appreciate all the support that we can get. So go ahead and do that. Also, this is recorded Tuesday, November 24th, and it'll be uploaded on Thanksgiving this Thursday. So if you celebrate Thanksgiving and if you're listening to us on Thanksgiving, then happy Thanksgiving to you guys. Hope you spend the day well with your friends and family and everyone that you're celebrating with. Survivor Series happened this past Sunday. I want to talk about that a little bit just before I get into the main topic, which you can see by the title is about Undertaker. So what were your main general thoughts on what happened this past Sunday before the farewell of Undertaker?
It was a pretty decent show. Tag match stole the show. Roman, Drew had a great match. Sasha and Asuka, surprisingly, but not really surprisingly, they had a great match also.
Yeah.
Just by the way that they've been booked with their characters. But again, I felt Asuka needed that win, but didn't happen, but it's all good. The 5-on-5 matches, wow. That's all you could really say because
there's no other words to describe that match than wow.
Yeah, like first with the men with the clean sweep, it was weird. Then with the women, of course, we knew Lana was gonna be the sole survivor, but just the way they did it was
it was really, really weird. And
you should just let her pin somebody. Somebody. And then the pre-show, the Battle Royal.
Confusing too. Really confusing on that.
Yeah, confusing with Gable and Mysterio fighting, but it's really for bragging rights. They're both on SmackDown, so what are you fighting for? Like, the match should have been over. But then the Miz sneaked up. Again, I think Miz won that match because they're grooming him to put the belt on him, making him look good. As I think he should get the title. I think he's a great champion. The first time he did it, it was a bad situation. Cena and The Rock were overshadowing him. It was just tough. And it was a tough time in WWE when you had all like the CM Punks, the Cenas, you know what I mean? Like, everybody was around. It was tough for him to be champion. I think now, especially with all the experience he has as the IC champion, I think he's gonna be great.
He has grown both as a heel and a wrestler since then. 10 years ago. That was 10 years ago. That was still like in his peaking times too. So he was still getting used to the singles run. So that makes sense to put on the title again. Give him one more shot for the title. See how he could be built up as a heel, especially in today's wrestling world. You have Drew McIntyre, all these young stars he can still work with too. So yeah, but I was confused on that the ending of the Battle Royal, because usually there's, like, in Survivor Series pre-shows where they have a Battle Royal, there's usually a stake to be involved. Like, the winner gets a championship match, gets something. But in this case, it wasn't anything. It was just the winner.
It was just bragging rights, I guess. And then again, it was like you got two SmackDown guys fighting each other. Like, what's that about? Like, it was just weird.
And then there was no graphic on the bottom of the screen. I noticed that too. It was like they weren't even keeping score.
They didn't even
they weren't even trying. It's just like, oh, hey, Raw's better. Look at this.
Yeah,
they swept the men's team, and then of course Lana was also survivor for their women's team.
Yeah.
So clearly,
it showed that they cared less than us. That's
what
it showed.
Yeah, exactly. They clearly care more about Raw at this point this night.
Definitely. And I feel that's your number one show. You gotta build them up. Also, SmackDown is the better show. No matter who's on it,
exactly.
They just do better. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, who was on? I'm trying to think who was on SmackDown before the draft. But basically, the whole Team Raw.
Yeah, the whole Team Raw.
Yeah. And SmackDown was doing better, so they said, you know what? Let's bring them to Raw. They'll bring the ratings. Nope. Because now SmackDown's still killing it. Well, no matter who you put on SmackDown,
they kill it. They always.
Yeah, weird. It's weird.
Exactly. They're thinking like, oh, we got the superstar. Just put him in any feud. It'll work. But
Yeah,
whoever they have for SmackDown has a better writing team than Raw. But so
yeah,
it's like they're
definitely,
doing everything good over there, so it
definitely.
doesn't make a difference for that. Um, and then of course the ending of the pay-per-view, which, like I said before, the main topic of this episode, the Undertaker farewell. What were your thoughts on that?
Oh man, that was. I loved how they ended it. I loved
Yeah,
how he had his whole crew there. It was awesome. It was
yeah,
awesome. Like I'm a big Taker guy.
me too.
Taker was like one of the first guys I discovered when I watched wrestling, and
Same here.
that he would always be my number one. He will always be my
Exactly.
goat. Like he's just it's Undertaker. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
it's just Undertaker. Like, but it was awesome how they had his old crew. He had everybody that he used to work with that it seems like he's close with, and then they had him come out and his Undertaker character, which people were like iffy on. I'm like, of course he's gonna come out. Like that's
Yeah,
the point
yeah,
of it. It's
exactly.
the Undertaker's farewell. It's not Mark Calloway's farewell. It's the Undertaker's.
Yeah,
Which then now the internet's opening up and they're like, oh well, he can come back as Mark Calloway. He doesn't have to be the Undertaker. Nah, I
he's
think
done,
I
man.
think this is it.
Yeah,
Um,
it'd be
I
cool if they
do.
did. They cool if they did like have Mark Calloway come like randomly show up during a Raw or SmackDown and just appear, not like
Yeah,
necessarily in a feud, but like have him show up and be like, hey, Mark Calloway is really him. Like
yeah,
Undertaker outside of Undertaker, the real person behind it. That would
yeah,
be cool to see in the future.
yeah. I think he'll come back. He'll do appearances. I don't think he'll do a match.
No, no,
Maybe he'll
not for
hit
sure.
a maybe he'll hit a choke slam, but he won't have a match again. But you never say never
Yeah,
because I still feel he'll have one more match.
Ric Flair stopped wrestling at what age? he went,
If you tell Ric Flair, yo, get in the ring today, he's ready. He's like,
yeah,
let's
he's
do
ready.
this.
Let's
Let's
do it.
do this.
Yeah,
I think he retired 60 something.
yeah,
Yeah, like so Undertaker, I feel like he'll have one more match. I hope he doesn't, but I think he'll have one more match. I think it'll
yeah,
be at Mania, and I think it'll be when the crowd comes back to
yeah.
have that one last
Or
WrestleMania moment.
another cinematic match, because those, I think those fit well with him too. The way they did the Born
No,
Hard
yeah,
match at
definitely.
Mania,
Yeah,
because stuff
definitely.
like that.
But I feel like he needs one more for the crowd. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
he
yeah,
needs
yeah,
that. And it sucked that he did this farewell and
yeah.
Corona's happening. Like it
Exactly,
couldn't happen in front of a crowd. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like it was weird and it sucked. I know that must have sucked for him because his whole life he's been doing it for the fans. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So like to be able to have to say farewell and they
nobody's there, and it's
piped
like,
in crowd noises, it's
yeah,
it's weird. You know what I mean?
yeah. That's it. Was that moment with Paul Bearer's hologram? That
That
got,
was that was sick. That
yeah,
was sick. I was
that
like,
got me. That
whoa.
got me. That was like,
Yeah.
I was like applauding, and then all of a sudden that showed up. I was like, damn, that that
Yo.
that was that was something. That was something.
Taker's
That
just he's the man. Like
yeah.
you can't take nothing away from the guy. It's just
What?
Taker. You
Yeah,
know?
like you said before, same reason with me. He was the reason why I started watching wrestling. He was the one that got my attention first out of every single superstar. And then if that, because I said this in the first episode, the specific moment that got me into watching wrestling was SummerSlam '08 when
Yeah.
he choke slammed Edge to the cell and the fire. Because at that time I was like 10 ish. So of course at that time I'm like, oh shit, he choke slam Edge too, and then fire came up. Of course I would think that's cool. Every 9
Yeah.
and 10-year-old would think that's cool.
It's gonna make an impression on you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the type of character that he leaves on people. Like he's gonna make people say the same thing and get people interested. I mean, not as like right now with what he's doing right now, but back then when he see the Undertaker in a match and do something, that's gonna get everyone interested in the company. Even if you're
Definitely.
not a wrestling fan, a lot
Yeah.
of people who used to watch wrestling probably loved him too back then.
Yeah.
So it's like that.
He's one of those names that everyone knows, but because like you have your Ric Flairs, you have your the Rock, like Rocks, but Taker, like I forgot who said it on the pre-show. He's wrestling fans like guy. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
the Rock branched off into acting. Everyone knows Ric Flair. Like if you just say Ric Flair,
and
somebody's gonna
yeah,
hit the woo. But
he's
Taker,
been in music too. People reference him in music and
yeah,
has songs and
Taker's just Taker. He's the wrestling fans guy. Like
yeah,
That's all you can really say about him. Like, he's just that guy. I
Yeah,
keep saying it, but it's true.
it is. Yeah, like he like there's so many like matches that you can
Oh man.
like, that he could. Speaking of that too, the first question I'm going to ask you, it might take some time to think about. I don't know how long. What would you say is your favorite match of his that you've seen that would be like, damn, this guy's awesome?
Um, ooh, there's a couple. There's a couple that comes to mind. Like, I love the Hell in a Cell matches with Shawn and Mick Foley.
Yeah,
Um, one of my favorite matches from him is WrestleMania 17 versus Triple H. I think it was cool. That was his first Mania as the American Badass.
yeah,
It was dope. Like, he's just the way, like, I give him so much credit for, like, he didn't really change his character, but he really changed his character. Like, he went from the dead man to riding a motorcycle and
and back to
actually,
the dead man again. He
yeah,
goes back.
like,
He flip flops. He's not just like one straight up character. He showed they could do something else too. Just be like the Undertaker, but in a different type of character too.
exactly. And he shows his range when he goes from babyface to heel. Like, you could really, really hate him,
Yeah,
or you could really love the guy and be behind him every step of the way. But yeah, he has a lot of matches that, like, of course, because since he was my favorite, I got like all the DVDs and stuff when I was younger. So I would have to say like a lot, like I said, the Hell in a Cell matches with Mankind and Shawn, and another one is WrestleMania 14 with Kane. I think that was pretty cool, especially since it was their first like
yeah,
matchup. And what's crazy is they wouldn't dare do anything like this today. The man debuted in October, right? He debuted in Bad Blood in October during the
yeah,
Hell in a Cell. They didn't even touch each other until Mania. They never had physical contact. That's insane. That's
yeah,
October till April or March, whenever it was that year. I think it was March that year, but that's insane.
yeah.
For you to carry on this storyline and never have, like, I think the only time they got physical was at Bad Blood, and then when he attacked him at the Rumble and put the casket on fire.
Yeah.
I think that was the only time.
Didn't he
But
bury him too? Right after that, like burying him right out. Like he burned it on fire, then buried the casket like in the fake dirt they had in the ramp, something like that.
no. That was
That was
another one.
different. Oh, that was nice.
Yeah. But he put the casket on fire. But even then, like, it wasn't really physical. It was just Kane attacking him.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
wasn't really any like
Back and forth. Yeah,
It was just, and then that was also the time that Taker had supernatural powers, and they both had supernatural powers. Like, they were
yeah. Like there's
setting
thunder
shit
and
on
lightning.
fire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like, it was like, this is
Everything was
kind of
going on.
dope.
Yeah,
Like,
that's kind of.
but it like built up to like this big match that was like, wow, and it was believable. He made it believable that Kane was threatening. Like, if Kane would have debuted and Taker wasn't the guy he was and didn't act the way he did,
Yeah,
like, right when Kane walked into the cell, you saw the face. Like,
yeah,
that was the first time we ever seen Taker scared. So to
yeah,
see that, it was like, oh, this is gonna be serious. This guy is no joke.
yeah. That's that's of course Undertaker's the scariest character there is. For him to be that scared when he saw Kane, you knew something was going to happen between them two.
Yeah,
Um,
because it made Kane believable.
yeah, and
You know what I mean?
it's always like, no matter who he faced and where it happened, it was always that like chill that you get down your spine or something like that. Where it's like you heard
Yeah.
the dong in the beginning of his entrance, and you're like, oh shit, something's gonna go down. Undertaker's coming now. He's gonna beat the shit out of everybody. And
But
it was always that like I said, that feeling. He's dark. Obviously, he's a dead man. So that's the impression he left. And he's one of those people where it's like, not only was he a great character in storytelling and stuff like that, but like he was a 6'10" guy who was wrestling like somewhat like a lucha character, like a lucha superstar. If you were a wrestling fan, you wouldn't have noticed he was 6'10" unless he stood next to somebody. You know what I mean? Then like, that was the great thing about it too. His matches always got you into it as well. All of his moves, all of his microphone abilities, you know, stuff like that. A lot of people would always say like, oh, there's a character that they always liked, but they weren't a great wrestler. They would just always stand out for the character. But he was the kind of guy that was always great as a character and always great in the ring. And that's what I loved about The Undertaker and how he always left an impression on everybody and always had a great match with everybody he faced against.
Definitely. And going back to like when you said that you knew it was going down when you heard like the dong, like you knew, oh, Taker's here.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
what's crazy is even when he went to the American Badass and you heard the bike,
yeah,
or like before the music would even start, or like at the start of the music, or when he was a heel, he had Dead Man Walking. What was it? It was like footsteps you heard at the beginning of
yeah,
his song. Even then, you knew, oh shit, it's
yeah,
Taker. It's about to go down. But yeah, he was just like, even in the ring, like you said, storytelling. Like that was his thing. Like I can never say Taker had a bad match.
yeah,
You can say he had maybe a boring match,
yeah,
but he's never had a bad match. Like all his matches told a story. There was never one that he just had just to have a match. Like that was probably like a few squash matches he's had throughout his career, but like there wasn't like when he squashed DDP, but also was telling the story because DDP was stalking his wife, you know, like so it was always telling a story.
yeah. And it's even though I wasn't like a wrestling fan around the early 2000s when the American Badass character was still a thing. But like,
I don't know why people hate that. I don't know
no,
why
no,
people hate
I
that
don't hate it.
character.
I don't hate it. I'm just
No,
saying
no,
like I
no. I
wasn't.
know. No, I know that, but I don't understand why people hate that character so
I
much.
guess that they were just used to like having seeing the dead man part and then just randomly transitioning. There's him being himself on a motorcycle. It's different, I guess, but it fit him well too. It was the Undertaker. He's still wearing everything black, still a
Yeah,
dominant big man,
and
and
it
like
gave him like it gave you some fresh air of the Undertaker. Like it was
yeah,
still the Undertaker, but not really the Undertaker. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
like it was like kind of a new character, but
It's
not
not yeah.
really.
They kept the name going. They weren't like they made him someone completely different. Like it was
It
still him.
was, yeah,
It
it
was still
wasn't
him.
like,
Different
oh,
look.
Bob Thornton is coming out. Like it wasn't like they gave him a
Yeah,
new name. Like it was
exactly.
still the Undertaker. All he did was change his persona. I don't know why people hated it. I loved it. I loved
Yeah.
that he
That fit
changed.
him well. That fit him because there were many
Yeah,
there were many superstars that had bikes riding out to the ring in the bike after him, and all those guys were like, nah, they don't. I don't like the way that looks. But Undertaker, like him riding out to the bike, made it more badass.
yeah,
Kind of
because
giving him that badass
like
look.
yeah, because Undertaker when he was the dead man, it was always okay. There's the dead man and there's Mark Calloway. There's
Yeah,
a break. There's a character there. You know
yeah,
what I mean? So there's where the character starts and where the character ends. Undertaker, American Badass. I think that was straight Mark Calloway. Just his personality. He loves riding bikes and stuff. So it let him be him, even though it was only 2 or 3 years.
yeah, yeah.
Even though people act like it was like 10 years, I'm like, yo,
Exactly.
like, why you even hate it that much? Like,
I know.
it wasn't like he was in stupid storylines or anything. That's even the time they let him do a lot of the Brothers of Destruction thing because it's tough to let them do Brothers of Destruction and not have one of them talk.
Yeah,
So like if they would have did that, like they did it when they before he turned into American Badass, but they had Paul Bearer to talk for both of them.
yeah,
Like and he would cut promos here and there, but then he could just cut a promo as himself. He didn't have to do the deep voice that he puts on and shit like that. Like he got to be himself. And I think he liked it. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, yeah. It was just showing
and
himself too.
yeah,
Because there was a point.
exactly.
There was a point where I don't want to go. Like John Cena had two different personas. He had Dr. Thuganomics. That probably wasn't his first choice that he wanted to do, but he saw two different sides of Cena. You
Yeah,
had him rapping to the ring every single time, to just having being himself. The
exactly.
rest of his career. So at some point, I feel like a lot of these people had to change characters. Triple H wasn't always the game. At one point, he was King. At one point, I think, and before that, he was Paul. He used his real name, I think. So
Paul Levesque or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, something like
And
that.
then because then he was like terrorizing and shit. Then he was
Yeah,
Hunter Hearst Helmsley,
yeah,
and then Triple H.
yeah,
I don't know who came up with that long ass name, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Whoever did that to him, hold the L because nobody was gonna say that all the time.
Yeah, I thought that was his real name, but then I realized Triple H. That's
Oh,
what it
I
meant.
always thought that was his real name too.
I'm like, that's great, Triple H. And then I realized that, like, oh, that was just part of the Triple H thing, not the actual real name. But what you said that Undertaker, your first, when did you start getting into wrestling? When Undertaker was first introduced to you?
Like end of 98, 99.
Wow, so you were
Because
still
I started watching young. Like I was born in 97. Like my first like memories though are like 99, but there's videos of me like family videos of me watching Survivor Series 98. You know what I mean? So like I
yeah.
was watching, not comprehending,
But
but
you're just like,
then
okay, this is people are just
this is
wrestling.
yeah, like this is catching my eye. I don't
Yeah.
remember it, but like my first memory was 99, and then Taker he was one of the first guys. Plus, I had the VHS tape of his,
Yeah.
which that was used. Wow, I traveled with that so much. Like my parents used to bring me to my grandmother's house every day so she can watch me. Every day in my book bag, that VHS went inside. And I traveled back and forth every day. Even though I was going there the next day, it was coming home with me because I was watching it when I was home.
Yeah.
Like it was that serious. Like I was
Exactly.
that serious about it when I was younger.
Me too. Like I had the SmackDown versus Raw video games for PSP, and I would bring the game I would bring that game everywhere with me, and I would always be the Undertaker. I don't think I'd never used Undertaker. Well, I've obviously have, but like I've always used Undertaker or the big guy. Yeah, that was the guy you had to be. Yeah, always your first choice too. And it's crazy because like I would always go to the Undertaker. I gotta beat this guy up. I don't care who it is. It's Undertaker. And then like same thing when I was young with Halloween. Mad people went out as Undertaker. Around my neighborhood. You would always see like either a wrestler or like Undertaker. You always knew with the cap. It's like, oh shit, someone's an Undertaker. That's awesome. And it's crazy how like it went that. It's 30 years. 30 years is a long time. It's before we were born.
Yeah.
30.
Like I wasn't even a thought yet. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's insane about it. Like,
I wasn't even a thought yet. That is true.
Like I was watching something. I think it was the Stone Cold thing he did, and
I started watching that.
That's fire. Yeah. And he was like, "Oh yeah, me and Kane debuted 23 years ago, so this has been going on for 23 years. This storyline, me and him." I'm like, I'm 23. Like, wow, that's crazy how long it's been, and he was even before me.
Exactly.
Like, that's how insane it is.
He debuted way before us. Like,
oh yeah, and he's been killing it way before we were even here. Like,
from the start, like literally from the start, he came to Survivor Series 1990, and it's like hasn't had a bad moment ever. I don't think.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. And then like he hasn't missed that many WrestleManias.
Yeah, really.
Like
even recently, as of late, he didn't have to do it, but he still did it anyways.
Yeah, like I think after this is also a controversial topic with me. The streak, I think, should have not been broken or been broken by someone that deserved it. If you know what I mean. I don't think Brock deserved it.
You didn't think so?
No, because Brock was already a made guy. Brock was already the guy. You know what I mean? Brock had already did his Here Comes the Pain, the next big thing in 2003, 2004. And then he went to the UFC, won a UFC championship, came back, raised hell, and he was the man. So, like, to put him against Undertaker and have him beat the streak didn't, like, it made sense because of the character, but it didn't help him. It wasn't like, oh, it makes him more of a threat. Like, if he would have lost, it would have been like, well, nobody beats Taker at Mania. You know what I mean? Like, you could have had him get that match back at another pay-per-view. Like how Taker got it back, I think, at SummerSlam, like the next year or something like that. Yeah. But I don't think Brock deserved it. I think, personally, he should have lost it at either, if he was gonna lose it. Because I'm a Taker guy. I didn't want it to end. Yeah. But if he had to, like, I went to WrestleMania 29. That's CM Punk. And that was the first time that I said, I wouldn't be angry if he lost this match. It would be shocking, but this would bring CM Punk to a whole nother level. And
Yeah.
then again, when WrestleMania 30 was like, they were kind of like teasing everything, what's going to happen. And the Wyatt family came into the picture. I said, you know what? A dark like character like that, if him and Wyatt went at it at WrestleMania, I wouldn't be angry if he lost because that would bring Wyatt to another level. Not only Wyatt, but his character and the Wyatt family. It would just brought them to another level because they weren't a made guy yet.
Yeah.
Brock was a made guy. Like I just felt it made no sense to have Brock win.
Like 2 years ago, Roman beat Undertaker at WrestleMania too.
Even then,
Yeah.
like I would have taken Roman.
Exactly. Me too. I was thinking,
which would have hurt them because they were building him up as a babyface to have him beat the most beloved character ever. But even then, that
would have made sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it should have been a young guy that hadn't been made. I think Brock was a made guy when he fought Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 19. I thought that made him a made guy.
Yeah.
He went to the UFC, won the championship, came back, dominated John Cena. I think that also made him a made guy.
Yeah.
He fought Triple H at WrestleMania 29. I think he lost. Like, how you lose to Triple H but beat Taker for the streak?
Wait, talking about? Oh yeah, bro. Yeah, I mean,
like it was.
Yeah. I know what you mean about that.
Like for that, you have him beat Triple H the year before too. What was the point of having him lose at Mania to like beat Taker? Like I just
exactly
because even losing to Triple H, it didn't hurt him. It didn't hurt him.
Yeah, because he had that when he returned in 2012, he was just beating up everybody that you saw. He beat up Punk, he beat up Cena. Even though he lost to Cena, but he beat up everyone. We already knew that he was still that gimmick where it was like, all right, here comes the pain. You get that part. He's still dominant. He's still like a badass character.
He still has it.
He still has it.
He's lost how many times at WrestleMania?
Tons of times.
They cashed in on him at 31, even though he didn't take the pin.
He still lost. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
32
was against Dean Ambrose,
and he
won. He beat Ambrose. Yeah.
That match was wow.
Yeah.
33 he beat Goldberg.
Yeah.
34.
I hate that match, man. I hate that match. I will always despise that Mania card. I will always despise that.
Why are you waiting on that Mania card?
I mean, it was okay. So the only reason why I hated that card was because I really, probably like many other people, I really, 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 really wanted to see Jericho versus Kevin Owens at the main event for the Universal title. Yeah, the fact that they changed it the last second was like, why? Like, why? They went from trying to main event Mania that year to being the first match of the night for the United States Championship. Yeah. Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, really?
That was a tough one.
Yeah. Like, so I sat there watching it like, why is this happening now? Well, who thought this was a good idea?
Everybody on that card that should have won, I feel, lost.
Yeah.
But
the only thing I liked that in that match was when Gronk showed up, and that was a kickoff show.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing that I liked about it.
Yeah, and that card is questionable. I'm biased because your boy was there. So I'm biased, and I'm
went to a lot of Manias there.
I was like, that's a good Mania.
You went to a lot of them though. You went to a whole bunch of me.
Yeah, and I go to the ones that everybody say are trash. Like I went to 29. People say, "Oh, that shit was trash." I think 29. That one was the most questionable one I've been to.
Oh, I like that one. That was a great one. I like that.
Yeah, I don't hate 29. 29 was actually not bad.
Yeah.
32 in Dallas. People say, "Oh, that might be the worst Mania ever."
Oh.
What? You got Taker versus Shane. You got the Intercontinental ladder match that Zack Ryder won. You got Roman versus Triple H. You got what else happened that show? The Rock Cena came out and did a promo with the Wyatts. Like, it wasn't a bad show.
My underrated Mania was that I've seen since I started watching wrestling was 30, yeah. No. 2015. The one 2015. The one where yeah.
He cashed in.
That one. That was my favorite, yeah. Because plus that you had the first time ever between Wyatt and Undertaker. You had Sting versus Triple H.
Yeah.
You had the ladder match when Daniel Bryan won it against all the other talented guys.
Yeah.
You had other matches that were on there. I can't remember the top of my head, but there were. Then you had like Paige and AJ Lee versus the Bellas, like all those like underrated matches right there that no one really talks about that much.
I think that was a great Mania.
Yeah,
Everybody always talks about Rollins, but look at the card. The card was dope.
it was stacked.
Like,
I liked
yeah,
it. It gave me the WrestleMania feel to it. And it was dope.
exactly.
It was dope. That should have been I feel like that should have been the Mania to do Sting versus Undertaker. But I guess you had the storyline between Triple H and Sting. They missed out on that part. That part should have been Undertaker.
Because let's talk about it. Because Vince loves to jerk Triple H off, right? So
that sounded wrong.
Instead of saying, "Hey, wow, the big two darkest characters in the history of the WWE and WCW going at it, why don't we put the biggest star that's ever come out of WWE, my son-in-law, taking on the biggest star that came out of WCW that wasn't Hogan or Goldberg?"
Yeah.
That should have been the year we had Mania, Taker versus Sting. I just feel if you book it yourself, you could put yourself anywhere, and that's how we got Triple H versus Sting. I still think we should have got Taker versus Sting. You could have still did the DX and NWO spot. You could have did that very easily. It was a cool match. I can't take that. I can't take anything away from it.
Yeah.
But it should have been Taker and Triple H, and it would have made it even more special if somebody didn't lose a streak to a guy that didn't need it the year before.
Yeah, yeah.
Because then you got the guy from WCW that's never had a match in WWE versus the guy
who's undefeated at Mania.
Exactly. That storyline right there, you could have just shown me that on paper. You didn't have to show me them for any build-up.
Exactly.
You could have just showed videos of old clips of both of them from WWE and WWF. And I didn't need to see any of them, and I would have been sold on that.
Like as you mentioned before, when they did Kane versus Undertaker, like they didn't touch each other at once at all. Do the same thing, cut promos in the ring, have them not interact until the day of Mania. That's how you hype up a crowd.
So much. They messed that up so much.
Exactly.
Because we should have had that match.
Yeah.
I feel Vince, even though people were like, "Oh, but they did him dirty," because he didn't want to pay people after the invasion.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Guess what? You pay them for a year, you're gonna make it back. Yeah. You know why? Because maybe you never know. Maybe some people just stopped watching after WCW went under, and they were like, "All right, whatever." And they tried WWF, but the people they had for the invasion were mid-carders.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like having, I don't even know who you'd say. It's like having Dominic Mysterio, Chad Gable, Zack Ryder invade like another company, and they're like, "Yeah, this is Team WWE." Like you're like, "No,
what?
This isn't. Like
exactly."
So, I think if they would have paid the money, of course you're gonna make it back. Like the invasion was I think it was the invasion pay-per-view that was one of the top grossing pay-per-views ever. Like,
good.
Yeah, so like you would have made the money back because people saw WWF, WCW.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though half the WCW guys were just WWF guys that turned on WWF because they used to be signed, and it was like,
it's
just buy the contract, homie. Get me Sting, get me Taker. Let's do this. Give me Hogan versus Stone Cold. I still don't know why they did Hogan versus Rock. It should have been Hogan and Stone Cold, but I think Stone Cold didn't fuck with him, so he said, "Nah."
Nah.
But
nothing.
I think it should have been them two. I think The Rock could have went against a Scott Hall. I think them just cutting promos on each other would have gave it enough build.
Yeah.
Of course. But also, like I was gonna say, Scott Hall's not that crazy in the ring, but neither is The Rock and neither is Hogan.
Yeah, so, like, they have the same like 3 moves or a couple.
Yeah, I love Scott Hall though. He's up there with me. He's up there for me, and I think I don't know, man. I feel like we should have got Sting and Taker a long time ago. I think Vince was just being greedy. There was years that Taker was on TV consistently from 2000 when he came back. He took the break in 2003, came back in 2004, and was on TV consistently until like 2010, 2011,
Yeah.
and maybe even later than that. He was on TV consistently. All those years that you had Sting wasting in TNA like that, he wasn't wasting. He was actually wasn't doing bad.
Yeah, he was
But
helping out a lot there in TNA.
yeah, but you could have signed him to just a year contract or something to get that match in a year that they were both able to hit the ropes without, hurting themselves.
Yeah, people.
Not saying that they're old and can't wrestle. It's just
it's not the
tough on the
same.
body.
Yeah,
And they've been wrestling for so long that
at this point,
they can't. They could. I won't put it past them for putting a good match together, but a match in like Sting and Taker 2000, Sting and Taker 2005, even Sting and Taker 2008, 2009 would have been insane.
Exactly.
I still think they could put on a good match. I think it'll be slow paced though, which is not what everybody wants to see.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. That like it's not gonna be a great match that you would expect it to happen 10 plus years ago. So I won't be. It'll be cool to see it, but I won't be as hyped as if it would have happened if it happened a while ago. So I'm not trying to push it to happen. Like I don't care if it doesn't happen at this point. Like I said, I wish it would have happened earlier, but at this point, it's like this. I don't care. Just do it a cinematic match at best, so that way they can have rests in between or something. The way they don't like go all out for like 20 minutes straight without a stoppage, like a wrestler. Yeah, because a cinematic match would be dope between them two. The Boneyard match that they had with AJ Styles, something similar, like have like a Boneyard match or some type of made up match that they can come up with that can involve both of them, because that way, like I said, just take a 20-minute break in between, and just they don't have to go all out since they're getting older and getting bodies not taking up that much. Like they're not gonna be like that. They don't have that much stamina now. I'm assuming, so that they had a while ago.
Yeah.
So I don't think.
I still give it to them. They're probably both in better shape than I am.
Yeah.
But
same here, man. They're probably better shape than me.
Yeah, but like, I think that will go down as one of the biggest missed opportunities.
Yeah.
That WWE ever like messed up on. I also feel Taker versus Cena at Mania is
that could have been a better match than they had recently.
But I don't even count that as a match.
Yeah, it was like 5 minutes.
So I say Taker versus Cena never happened at Mania.
Yeah.
To me, it never happened. And I feel it was a missed opportunity. I feel what year was that?
2018?
No. Before. It should have happened when Cena was still young and Taker was still young. The year that they built up Orton to be the legend killer, that was 2005.
Okay.
21, WrestleMania 21 was 05, right? I say 05.
Yeah.
05, 06 should have been the year you could have had Taker versus Cena, and you could have kept Cena heel for at least one more year and have him win the big one at like 22.
Yeah.
As a babyface, but keep him that one more year and have him versus Taker at WrestleMania 21. Cena's still a heel. Cena takes the L, but imagine the match they would have had.
They could have done it either in WrestleMania 23, because that was the year he won the Rumble, and he had the option to face John Cena when he was WWE champion at that time.
Yeah.
They could have done it then, like, yeah, choose Cena. He faced Cena. Maybe Shawn Michaels faced Batista or new opponent. But that feud that he had with Batista that year too was also amazing.
Yeah.
Would never erase that at all. But still, that could have been an opportunity for John Cena to face up against like John Cena and Undertaker.
Yeah.
Both in their prime still at that time, even though they've been around a while at that time too.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of people who they kind of messed up on for WrestleMania.
Hell yeah.
They could I feel like they should have done a rematch for Triple H the year later. They should have had I know he didn't win the Royal Rumble the following year, 24, but in 2008. But they should have had like like Undertaker versus Triple H for the WWE Championship that year. Different title, different, both better off facing each other that year. And then, Randy Orton was champion, right? Randy Orton was champion. That's why I meant, not Triple H.
Yeah, it was Randy.
Yeah.
I think he faced Triple H that year.
Yeah, Randy faced Triple H and Cena. Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Because Undertaker faced Edge that year. That was the year that he beat Edge for the World Championship. And then
that's my most underrated WrestleMania match of Undertaker's. Undertaker versus Edge. People don't talk about that match a lot. Do you have like a Undertaker WrestleMania match that you like but people don't really talk about?
Ooh, okay.
Or do you like just the basic ones that the basic ones, but the more popular ones that everybody agrees on that is the best?
I mean, I was gonna say 25, but everyone loves that one. Everyone loves that 25 match with Shawn Michaels. But I think from what I think,
because I think he has a lot of matches at WrestleMania that people just skip over.
Yeah, because
I feel like the WrestleMania 17 with Triple H, now that's been getting more talked about because of the last match they had, that they built it up into the match.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, they fought WrestleMania 17. I feel WrestleMania 17, 18 against Ric Flair was underrated too. That was actually a good match. Like, if you sit down and watch it, it's actually a good match. Him and Edge. I think that him and who he fought, was it Batista that he fought at? Did he face Batista at Mania?
23.
23, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was gonna say that match was an underrated match.
Yeah,
that one was.
They don't talk about that match a lot, and it's not a bad match.
Yeah, because they like I said, they led to a long feud. It kind of lasted a couple months back and forth, and that was like the Undertaker that I really invested myself into. Not because I started around, like, because I feel like that was the Undertaker that solidifies his career. Like, American, he had the American Badass and the one where he debuted that. But when you ask someone, when you ask like any person, even people who don't watch wrestling, when you ask someone about Undertaker, the first Undertaker they think of was between that time, 2007 and on. They don't go back to like, oh yeah, like his debut match or something, or the American Badass. But they always think of the darker character than the American Badass part. So I feel like any time after that was the amazing, like the definition of Undertaker when you see him in WWE. Yeah,
definitely.
But 2007 was an underrated one. I was gonna say. I think, didn't he face Mark Henry? I forgot which WrestleMania it was, but Mark Henry in a casket.
Match. I think that was 22.
22. Okay. So yeah, that one too. I remember watching that. I was like, that they've never done that. From what I can recall, they haven't really done a stipulation. It was just always a one-on-one match. Besides the Boneyard match, but they had like
the Boneyard and Hell in a Cell.
Yeah,
then I think the casket was like the first stipulation at Mania. I believe so.
I feel like that could have been.
He had like a handicap match, which
but it wasn't like a disqualification or anything.
Really
it was 2-on-1. It wasn't like a. But
I would say the casket match, which was the first stipulation match at Mania,
and that wasn't really talked about at all, because that was really the one that brought up to. Like I said, they eventually did the Triple H No Holds Barred and Hell in a Cell. That one too. The Hell in a Cell one at 28. That was awesome.
Yeah,
that was
a
amazing.
Great match. That was one that I was terrified watching, because I thought he was gonna lose it.
Me too. I was like,
once they said Shawn is gonna be ref, I said,
"Yep, he's losing it."
There we go.
There we go.
Is that how he's gonna lose it now?
Yeah.
I think that was the year it was gonna be 20-0. So it was like, this is a big one. I was saying, stop it.
I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, I can't watch this. I can't watch this. I can't look. Because they'll lose it, and they're like, damn it.
And he hit that super kick. Oh,
and then a pedigree following that.
Match. Yeah, I was so torn in that.
I was like, no, don't do this. And then it was like this close. It was this close. I'm like, damn, that was so close. That was a really big one too. And then after the match, when they had that moment on the stage with them three together,
that was it.
There were so many.
All of them. You were like, oh, cool. That's how it's gonna end. I'm happy with it.
I thought he was gonna like retire right there and be like, you know what, no one's gonna beat my streak. That's it. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna retire right here, 20-0, and no one can beat that.
And I would have not been mad at that. I would have not been mad at that. We never got the even though I love the match Undertaker versus Punk, if we never got all the matches after,
exactly,
I wouldn't be mad if that's how both men went out. Triple H and Taker. That should have been it for them.
Because that was when NXT first started to become a thing, right? 2012. Yeah, 2012 when NXT was first a thing. So I was like, okay, maybe that's his last match and permanently with NXT and having that CEO position.
It made sense.
Yeah,
it made sense. It was like, okay, and Taker's getting old. Like this is the perfect time to do this.
Exactly. Who did he face? Did he have a match at 27? Undertaker? Oh, that was also Triple H. Yeah, that was. Yeah. I forgot.
He did Shawn and Shawn, then Triple H.
Triple H. Yeah, I keep forgetting they did it twice for Triple H. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Which
but
I would not give Triple H 2 matches, but
yeah.
Like the first one was okay.
Yeah, it was okay. The second one was better.
Though,
that was it. That was the match.
Yeah.
The first one, I feel like who was besides Triple H, because Triple H returned at the same time as Undertaker did. He was out for a while and then he just returned randomly and then.
Wait, when?
2011, 27 WrestleMania 27. He just both of them returned right like in between Chamber and Mania, and then they started feuding.
So. Yeah.
And then I didn't understand that at all because like they should have given that opportunity to someone who was up and coming and like should have. That's what I feel like.
Not on Triple H's watch.
Yeah. Because there were rumors like for the WrestleMania 26 match that they weren't planning on doing Shawn Michaels again. But that even though I loved the fact that he ended off his career, but they were planning. What the rumor was that, is that Drew McIntyre was supposed to be the one facing him that year, since he was like the new rising star that year, and he was the Continental Champion. So that I would have loved this.
And that also too, since they were building him up so strong. Would he have beat the streak?
No, I don't think that. I think that it would have been cool if he would have taken, because he was IC champion that time.
I don't know, man. You never know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I think the first person to turn it down was Edge, and that was what, 24?
Yeah, no, Edge did face him that year.
In 24, right?
Yeah.
I think Edge was like they came to Edge with the idea of you're gonna be the one to break the streak. And he said, no. Out of respect, he said, no. He said, I'm not doing that. He said, it's not on me. No.
Yeah, I would have done the same, honestly. I would have gotten to beat me. I would have been like, yo, I don't care.
I think, hold on, now I got to look this up because I think he was the first one to, like, turn it down. Like, he was the first one to be like, nah.
No, thank you, man. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm fine.
Yeah, it says, look, why Edge refused WWE's call to break the Undertaker streak at WrestleMania.
Wow.
Yeah, so he was like the first one. So now it's already in their head to break the streak.
Yeah.
Since they're building up Drew at that time so hard, and so you know what I mean? Would he have been given that opportunity to beat the streak?
I mean, it's just he was relatively maybe because I don't think he was still like getting better.
New.
Yeah, he was new.
But guess who else was new that we also talked about? We talked about Roman breaking it. Wyatt
breaking it. Yeah.
They were only there. Wyatt had debuted right after WrestleMania 29. I think he should have broke it at 30. That would have brought him to a whole new level. So who knows? Maybe Drew was slated in to beat it, and then Shawn Michaels was like, "Nah, I'm trying to end my career. I want to end it with Taker."
That's also
how the conversation went.
Yeah. That's I like the way they brought up that Mania too, where it was the Slammies. They should bring that back, by the way. The Slammies, where he was like, "Oh, we should do it again." And the whole storyline was just amazing how they did the second part. Even though 25 was better than 26, it was still also built up how they referred back to it the year before. I remember, like, I don't know why I remember this clearly when I think it was before SummerSlam 2009, when they faced Legacy, Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase.
Okay.
I'm going to live it off topic, but I always remember. It always stands out to me when that was in between both 25 and 26, where during that build up for that SummerSlam match, they had Shawn Michaels working for like a catering place, I think in the headquarters of WWE, because there was a I don't want to show the video right now. I'll send you it later, but like it was like I think it was in the headquarters somewhere. Shawn Michaels was working like the cafeteria, and then like they were saying like he was gonna quit there because he didn't want to do anything with DX Legacy. And then
I feel like I remember that.
it rings. Let me find a picture. I'll show you through the screen right here. I think you'll remember it. Hold on, Shawn Michaels.
Because that was the year that they were doing the whole character of, oh, I'm saved, and they also did like the barbecue thing when, right? Was that the same year?
I think it was. I think so. It was this moment. I'm gonna try to show to the screen. You remember that?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think
That was like on the like they made that storyline when he was on the urge of quitting because like he didn't want to like wrestle anymore or do anything with
Yeah,
DX.
yeah. Okay, yeah, I feel
And
you.
then
Yeah.
like yeah, I thought that was it. So I was like, oh shoot, is he really gonna quit right now to Legacy? I'm like, damn, this is crazy. But then I'm like, yeah, the way they brought it up was like, you know what? I'm like, if I were to lose or end my career, it would be Undertaker. I like how they brought that up too because that was like it wasn't the year for him either.
Yeah.
That was from when DX came back because they lost the Unified Tag Team Championships. That whole Legacy thing came up, and then the Undertaker thing came up too. So it all like, really went downhill after the 25 match that he had. And that concept too, when the 25, when they had that 4-person battle royal, not battle royal, tournament. They had JBL and I think Vladimir Kozlov and somebody else,
Vladimir
which he should have
Kozlov.
been the one to face Undertaker that year too, because you had
I could have saw that.
Kozlov was undefeated, and undefeated superstar versus undefeated streak. Like, why not do that?
Yeah, that would have made sense. Yeah, it's not a bad idea to be honest.
Yeah,
Like they gave Undertaker a lot of big guys to work with that like just never panned out.
yeah.
Like I remember Vladimir, he worked with Heidenreich, he worked with um the dude, what was his name that he was supposed to tag with him at WrestleMania 19? Nathan Jones. Nathan
Wait,
Jones. Like
Kozlov was that far? I thought he debuted in 2010.
what happened?
I thought Kozlov debuted in 2010, 2009.
Wasn't it 09?
Yeah, because I
What did
remember.
it say?
Oh, let
Wait,
me
it said
search it up.
something different?
No, because Vladimir Kozlov
Look,
debut.
look at us looking up Vladimir like he
Yeah.
matters and
I wonder who's
stuff.
the last time who someone searched him up.
I wonder. I
Yeah.
wonder.
April 2008.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was that far ago. Wow.
That's
Yeah, it was 2008. I remember this now. I remember watching this. It was 2008. Yeah, because then he did stuff with Santino after that. And that's when he started going downhill.
yep.
Downhill.
Real quick.
Should have done more with him, man. Should have done more with him. He was my favorite guy right there. Like a
Wait,
big
who?
guy. It was Kozlov.
Oh, okay. I thought you
Yeah.
said Santino. I was gonna
No,
say.
no. I mean, he was funny. Yes, I'll give him that part. But it
Yeah,
wasn't like the.
he has some jokes.
Yeah, some. Him and R-Truth are my top two comedic guys in the last 10 years. Um. Yeah. So like, what else like, do you remember off the top of your head of Undertaker that you would like
Taker.
that always stands out to you besides WrestleMania matches and?
Something that stands out to me.
There's so
There was
many.
there are so many. I remember the time uh he hung Stone Cold on the on his I don't even know what he calls it, crucifix or whatever, his
Yeah.
like his logo.
Yeah.
He did that. He tried to marry Stephanie in the ring
Yeah.
on his logo. He tied her up. I always one of my favorite feuds he ever did was when he faced Kurt Angle, and Kurt Angle came out on a little moped scooter, and
Yeah.
he he was just drinking his milk and stuff. Or I know a couple people threw his bike off the stage. That was also dope.
Yeah.
As you can see, a lot of the stuff was when he was biker taker, but that was just because that was such a time that was really like the years that like I first started having, like, I don't even know what you would call it. Like I started noticing that I was watching wrestling. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
99 to 03 was just really impressionable on me, which is why it's like my favorite years of wrestling, because it was the first couple of years you watch it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's always gonna be the first impressionable years of you. So like him as the biker character, I thought was the shit. I still think it's the shit.
Yeah.
So like Triple H throwing the bike off, I think Kurt Angle did it. There was a time he tied Hulk Hogan to his bike and just drove through the arena
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan just dragging on the bike. I think Hogan. I don't think Hogan did back to him. I think Hogan's crushed his bike with a truck. It was just. It's Taker. You know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
many. He has so many moments that you can't pick. Just like what's your favorite Taker moment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What are your favorite moments of the Undertaker?
It's always have to be at least one of those moments with Kane. Like even going back to when Kane first debuted to they had one WrestleMania match, I believe. Then going it back to 2010, they had one more small feud for a little bit. And then even just the Brother Destruction tag team moments too. I love the Brock Lesnar feud Undertaker had with Brock. Back 5 years ago, 5, 6 years ago, starting with the WrestleMania streak ending and then finishing it off at SummerSlam last year. I feel like that match was like I feel like that match was personal. Like it felt personal since Brock Lesnar beat the streak,
Yeah.
and it was like still relatively new in that sense. And I would always remember that match, that infamous moment during the match when Undertaker kicked up, and Brock Lesnar was right next to them, and then he started laughing.
Oh, laughing.
And yeah, that would always stand out in the middle. That always stands out to me. It's just so funny to see them just both so serious, and all of a sudden they just start laughing, mocking each other in the middle of the match.
Yeah.
Even that, like the brawl they had before then on Raw, where they started attacking each other, and everyone in backstage had to like separate them in the middle of the ring and backstage too. That was personal. That's like one of my favorite moments of Undertaker.
Yeah, they
In that
really
sense.
built up that storyline. It was a good storyline. Like it made sense when he beat the streak. Like it made sense for the storyline. I still don't think he was the right guy, but it made
Yeah.
sense since you were gonna do all this down the road. If they had it planned, it made
Yeah.
sense to have him break the streak so that it becomes a personal storyline.
I'm glad they did it though, because if they didn't do that, it would have been weird just ending off the streak and not bringing it up again.
Yeah,
It's just
definitely.
I'm
I
glad they.
always I always liked the match that they had in 2003. They had a Hell in a Cell. I think it was No Mercy. I think it's one of the best matches. Uh, it was when I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's when Undertaker had a broken hand and he had like his cast on,
Yeah, I think I
and
remember
then
that. It rings a
love that
bell.
match. Love that match.
They also had a Hell in a Cell that year too, the 2015.
Yeah,
Which is also because that was ruthless. They brought it because they ripped up the mat and then they
yeah.
actually put each other through it.
Uh, they have great chemistry. Them two.
Yeah, them too. They do.
They always put on a show. Always tell a great story. You can never. The only one you could say that they had a bad match was 30, and that's because Taker got concussed like
Yeah.
minutes into it. Like I don't even count that one. And I still to this day I haven't gone back and watched that match.
Me neither. I can't rewatch it.
I never will. I never will go back and watch that match. I've rewatched WrestleMania 30. I've never rewatched that.
Skipped
match.
over that one, yeah.
Can I just tell you that messed up the whole night for me? Like I couldn't.
Because he had concussed, or was it because he lost the streak?
No, because he lost the streak.
Yeah,
he lost the streak. I couldn't even focus on the
me
main
neither.
event that night.
Yeah,
it was that bad. Like you could have told me that was the greatest main event in WrestleMania history. I never like got to experience it. Like,
were you there? Were you there that Mania? Were you there that one? Or
no?
No.
Nah, that would have been.
That would have been yeah. That would have been.
I probably would have got up and walked out. I would have been like,
we're done.
This is it. This is it. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Because like even when I was sitting in my living room watching it, I was just like still in my head, and like then the Divas came on. I think they had like a battle royal or something, and I just couldn't focus on anything after that match. And then the main event came on, and like I remember seeing Daniel Bryan celebrating and stuff, but like.
Was it sort of shock to you? Yeah.
Because I was just like,
me too, man. I was like, what the hell just went on?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Like that's all because I had my family over for WrestleMania, and that's all we talked about for Wrestling Night. It was like, no, finish it like that.
Yeah, really.
Like, and then like, how old was I when that happened?
That was
I
like
had to be like
6 years ago.
17.
Yeah. I was like 15.
my little promotions, like my little promoter stuff, was in bed that night. And I was like, but they can always turn it over by doing this. Maybe they can get it back. Like
Like it
all
didn't
this stuff.
happen.
I'm
Like
like,
it didn't
yeah,
happen.
because I was like, this can't
Be
happen.
real.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it can't be real. This can't happen. And
Yeah.
like, I've never went back and watched that match. Even when I watched WrestleMania 30, I still haven't watched the main event because I just have no care for it. I'm just like, it happened after the streak, and the streak was the biggest thing that happened on that
Yeah.
show. And like, yeah, he got to celebrate with the fans and stuff, Daniel Bryan, but like, I think
Come
that
on.
took
Yeah.
it took a lot of people out of it when the streak was broken.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't be the only one that
No,
was
there were
like,
millions of people who probably thought the same.
yeah, and I just couldn't process the main event. I was watching it, but like I couldn't process what was going on. I was just like,
Yeah.
what happened to the streak? Like,
Yeah.
it was
It's
one
like,
of those things.
yeah, I thought they were gonna just rub it off, be like, you know what, this is it. I don't care about the streak anymore. Don't make it a thing.
So close. Did you? You
I'm
good?
back. I'm back. Yeah, we good.
There
We
we
good.
go. I was about to say, oh my
Yeah,
god.
we almost froze this time. We almost froze.
Yo.
Yeah.
I was about to say we were doing so good.
Yeah. But I guess we could just end the episode. I want to end the
yeah.
episode right now.
Yeah, we can end it, man.
I got a question to ask next week. For not next week, but next episode, which is in 2 weeks. I'll explain that next week, the next episode. But the question for next episode that we do together is, if you were to have if you were Vince and you were to book one more match for the Undertaker with any dream opponent that hasn't happened yet, who would it be and why?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that one. I like that question.
Okay. So yeah, this has been episode number 12 of the Ring Fanatics Podcast. Nick, your host, Joe, with me as always. See you guys next time.
Peace.